We've previously looked at function and method overloading as a way to pass in different types of parameters, to pass in different numbers of parameters, and things like that. However, it does require us to write multiple copies of the method or the function, even if it has the exact same name. So while it's easy to call that function or method, it can be time consuming to write all those different functions and methods. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a simpler way? Well, there is. And that's by using a template. And a template is something that is a little newer to C++. And you can see an example here. I start off with the keyword template, and I specify inside of angle brackets, and notice that they are angle brackets, type name T. Now, anytime that you see T inside my function definition, that is going to be used as whatever data type is passed in. So it's returning a data type of T. What data type is T? It's the one I pass in. And then I'm passing in two different values here, both of them of type T. So let's take a couple examples of where we can see this being used. So I'm going to have cout. The max value of 3 and 5 is, and I'm going to have max value, I'm going to do 3, 5. Okay, that's pretty simple. And I could have written this as a regular method with an integer, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to duplicate this. Instead of saying 3, I'm going to say 3.14 and 2.5. Now when I pass in the value, I'm going to say 3.14 and 2.5. Well, let's try one more thing just for giggles, if you would. So I'm going to say the max value of a and lowercase a. Well, wait a second. I'm passing in not just numbers, but also characters? Yeah, I can do that. You know what? I'm going to even do a string. ABC and ZYX. Now, I'm showing single quotes here, but I'm going to make sure I use double quotes here. ABC. And once again, I'm going to do uppercase Z, Y, and X. Now, if I go and run this real quick, the max value of 3 and 5 is 5. It's what we expect. The max value of 3.14 and 2.5 is 3.14. That was a double data type. Between capital A and lowercase a, the max value is lowercase a, and then between ABC and ZYX, it is ABC. Notice that it doesn't matter if it's first or last, the bigger value, and notice that I have integers, doubles, characters, and strings. Is there limitations to this? Well, yes, there is actually a couple limitations. I want to show you them real quick. The template is a great method for doing this, and it solves a lot of problems. I didn't have to write 4 different max value functions, so saves me a lot of time. The problem, or the limitation I would prefer to call it, is it's not really a problem, it's a limitation, is in this case, I have one data type. Okay, so if I wanted to do, for example, the max value between 3 and then the character 5 or a string 5, okay, if I try to do this, notice it gives me an error. And that's because my template is only set up to handle one data type. And doing 2 different data types can be a bit of a challenge because now it has to try to figure out how do I convert that. And there may not be a good and easy conversion between an integer and a string. And especially not if it doesn't know what it is. So that can be a little bit of a challenge. Now, not all my parameters have to be the template data type. I can create other ones. But I'm just showing that as an example here. The other problem I would have is if I were to have a couple of, let's say, my circle objects from my previous examples. Well, my problem then becomes, how do I determine which one is greater? I don't have a method, at least not yet. I can later on, I can learn how to overload things like the greater than and less than operators, but we haven't done operator overloading yet. So being able to do this particular example requires that anything inside my template function be able to be done by whatever data type I pass in. So if I need to add or subtract or compare two operators, that has to belong with that data type. And that's, of course, built into a lot of data types, but it's not necessarily built into every data type. So you got to be careful with that, especially with different types of classes, to see if that's going to be available to you. And like I said, in this particular case, we're limited to one data type. Now, whether or not that would be the case in all of your examples, that's not necessarily the case, but it does add a lot of extra complexity. So that's something you also want to consider. But using a template will dramatically simplify a lot of the code that you can do inside of your programs.